Welcome to Page to Screen, the podcast where Nikki and Kristina discuss books that were turned into movies and films that were adapted from books. As always, we do remind you that spoilers lay ahead. Now, we invite you to decide with us the age-old question, which is better, the book or the movie?
Another Page to Screen podcast? Inconceivable! Welcome back to Page to Screen, a birthday edition.
Happy birthday, Nikki.
Yeah, it's my birthday. Actually, this is actually dropping on my actual birthday, so welcome to my birthday
As you wish.
It's okay, I love you too, Kristina. Joining, as always, is my favorite party person, Kristina.
Hello, how are you?
I'm ready to party.
I think you picked such a good topic to talk about for your birthday.
I am obsessed.
Yeah.
I am completely obsessed to the point that I honestly didn't take notes because I was just in it.
I didn't take much notes either. I wrote down just a few things that I wanted to make sure I didn't forget. But yeah, I don't have much notes for today at all.
I'm not
just
even
all in my head.
Yeah, I'm not even picking up the book at all for this one because I didn't flag it. I didn't do anything to it. I was so happy. I was so giddy watching the movie and reading the book. Actually, watching the movie, I was just kind of flustered. I was like, oh my God. Hi.
So, yes, the book is, we are doing, for short, it's The Princess Bride, but the full title is, I love this full title, too. It's The Princess Bride, S. Morgan Stern's classic tale of true love and high adventure, the good parts version. Which is a 1973 novel by William Goldman, and it has a very unique story structure where it's kind of like a story within a story, but also kind of a story within a story within a story sometimes. So it's very meta and it's very interesting, but it all winds down to a fairy tale with Princess Buttercup and pirates and an evil prince, all the good stuff.
Yeah. And that's the whole point. It's supposed to be abridged from a classic tale that is only available in a foreign language. I loved this idea of this backstory because there was a moment where I was reading it and I was like, wait a minute, is this legit? Like, am I reading the wrong book?
There are so many, and this cracks me up. I wish I had noted some of them. There are so many angry Goodreads and Amazon reviews about people who do not understand that the book is written this way. And there were some of them that were so funny that were like, I remember this book. There wasn't no structure like this. William Goldman ruined my favorite book by interjecting all of this and shortening it, which is not true.
Yeah, no. It's not true at all because the book doesn't exist. Not only does the book not exist, he writes about his wife and his morbidly obese son. He does not have a son at all.
He does not.
They are made up because he's awful to this boy in this book. He calls him lazy and fat and all of this mean stuff. He doesn't have a son, ladies and gentlemen. Spoiler alert.
Well, what's cool is that in doing this very meta thing, it's funny because it almost feels a little bit like William Goldman making fun of William Goldman at times.
Yeah.
There's a clear sort of dig at, I think, a Tolkien in it. There's this funny bit where there's supposed to be 10 pages. It's funny. There's supposed to be 10 pages of discussion about the forests. Yeah. And he says, come on. You don't need to hear about 10 pages of forests, which is clearly a Lord of the Rings, dig.
Yeah.
But then sometimes he also kind of, almost makes fun of the God complex of writers. But in doing that, he's making fun of himself, which is just so much fun.
Yeah. What I like about The Princess Bride, the book, for full context, this is the first time I've read it.
Same.
And what I loved about it was that it is definitely, it's the Disney aspect to it, which is going to sound weird, but it's not dumbed down storytelling.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a book you could read to kids.
But it's a book that you could read to kids that the adults will find possibly even more entertaining than the kid, because they are seeing the read between the lines, wink, wink, from the narrator reading the book.
Yeah. And I love that, because you don't get a lot of fairy tales, quote unquote. I mean, this one, my cover says it's a hot fairy tale. Wink. You don't get a lot of...
Mine does not say that.
Sucks to suck, doesn't it, Kristina? But
Well, Kristina, I found this book in the X-rated section at my local library.
Whoops. Wait, did yours had a map in the front, right? Or
Yes, it does. That's
what I love too, is that you get a full... It's like, even... Oh, God, I just really like the book. It's definitely with the mindset of, like, if you're going to end up wanting... It's a book that adults want to read. And it's stories that kids will want to hear.
Yeah.
Blended together in this perfect way. And it's just so funny. Like, one of my favorite parts is he skips over the reunion.
Well, I'll let you talk.
Words are hard. So, as everyone knows, there's a classic scene where Buttercup pushes the man in black down the hill, and he screams, "As you wish," and she's like, "My Wesley, what have I done?" And she chases after him down the hill, and then in the book, it just like, he's like, we're just gonna skip this part, and my wife was like, "Why would you skip that? Blah, 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 blah," and he goes into this whole thing where he's like, "Well, if you want to read the reunion scene, it was written, but my publisher told me to take it out, so you can write to this address here and get the 10 extra pages for the reunion scene. Otherwise, skip ahead." Like, it's so funny.
That part, because they really do, like, take away that scene in the book, or rather, they give you that scene in the movie. So I was a little sad that it wasn't in, but that the way it's written made me laugh so hard that I was torn in, like, which way I liked better. And, like, that kind of, like, you can write too. It's just so smart to put that in a book. It's like such a fun way to tell that story.
Part of me wants to write.
You should.
"Excuse me, can I have those 10 pages, please? I know I'm going to get it back. I should definitely do it. I'll let you know what happens."
You should do it, and then we can have a page-to-screen follow-up and see what you got in the mail.
What if they actually do send pages? I'm so worried. This is like at the end of the Batman, when there's that website that you can go to.
Carlos went there, my husband.
When you went, was there anything still there or no?
Yes. There's an actual, like, a website, and there is an actual riddle that you solve. Seriously? And it looks just like that, where, like, the green letters in the screen. Yeah.
Because I went to the website and nothing was there.
Well, I think that there was a countdown, because I think that, and I could be completely wrong, but I feel like there was the website, and he did the riddles, and then what it led to was, I think it was the Joker deleted scene, which has now since been actually put on HBO Max, and
spoiler alert, everybody. Spoiler alert. We're talking about the Batman.
Spoiler alert.
We're talking about the Batman with page-to-screen modern day vampire winner Robert Pattinson. See, we can tie it back to the podcast anytime. We're good.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure it led to the Joker deleted scene. But now, since that's been actually put on HBO Max, I believe that it's no longer there. It was like a time sensitive.
But the address to get these 10 extra pages is still published in this book. So I'm definitely going to try. I'll keep you all updated. "Excuse me, I would like my 10 extra pages, please." It's going to go to someone's random apartment, and they're going to be like, "I have no idea what you're talking about."
Some psycho sent me 10 pages of a nonsense story.
But that's what was so good about this book, is that those random interjections from the author, being like, and this is where my dad would just stop, like the one where he's like, him and his dad got into that argument about Buttercup marrying Prince Humperdinck.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, I think this is going to be one of those episodes where it's hard to...
It's going to be so hard.
We're going to blur the lines between film and book because there are scenes that in the book that are directly on screen, and it, like, my heart was just, like, totally into it. Like, I love, like, one of my favorite scenes that's in the book and in the movie is the whole Miracle Max thing.
I love Miracle Max. And so the movie is, it's the 1987 Princess Bride. Yeah. Just so that we know what we're talking about. So it is going to be really hard to piece them together because they are so similar. And the Max scene... It's so fun because, like, you've got these images in your head, and in the book there are differences. Like, not all the characters look identical. Like, Humperdinck definitely doesn't look the same from the book to the movie, but you can kind of, like, picture both of them happening at the same time, you know? Like, they're both just so much fun, and they're so much similar between the two that you can love them together or on their own. Yeah, I think they both the film and the book are, like, they're super connected, but they stand apart, so you don't have to have seen the movie, and you don't have to have read the book. They're both they just, like, fit so well, and the movie has, like, I would not change a thing about the casting for this movie. It has the most beautiful people in all the world in this movie, and I am obsessed. This movie has the Mummy level group of beautiful people where it's just almost annoying to look at all of them in scenes where they're together because they're just so pretty. I'm sorry, the opening scene on the farm. I know. I cannot look at either of them because it's like, I'm getting all blushy now. I'm like, they're both so beautiful. I have a feeling, too, that Robin Wright... Because I think she's gotten even prettier over the years. Like, I think that she's more beautiful now than she was then, which is saying something. And I think she's one of those individuals who I bet that in person she's even more beautiful than she is on screen. Like, I bet that she has one of those, like, natural beauties that kind of, like, comes from inside that if you saw her in person, she'd be even prettier. Oh, my God. I don't know what I would do if I saw her in person. Like, I don't know what I would do if I met any of this cast. I don't know. I think I would be flushed and just, like, it's one of those moments you need an Elizabethan fan. You know what I mean? Like, oh, hello. Hi. Like, that would be me the whole time because it is, I challenge anyone to tell me that this cast is not the most beautiful cast. Like, they are, it just, you can't look away. They're magnetic. Everybody they were perfect for these roles. The only one that was a replacement for, like, somebody else that I thought the original person could have been kind of cool was, I love Wallace Shawn, and Wallace Shawn is only in this movie for a very brief amount of time, and he only needs a brief amount of time to be one of the ones that you remember the most. Oh, yeah. Yet, the person who they were originally looking at was Danny DeVito, which I think that's never been confirmed. Fun. They've never actually confirmed that. I actually started reading the As You Wish book that Carrie Wills wrote. I need to read that. I do need to read that. It's really cool, and he's like, he talks the way you would think he talks. So it's kind of fun to hear him because you just hear, like, him speaking, and it is listed in there. So I mean, maybe he also learned of it later, but I would think that maybe he would check it. I need to read that book. It's fun. The funny thing about the book, and it's funny because we just talked about how beautiful everybody is. He, like, the way he talks about himself, he doesn't think of himself like that. Like, I think he thinks of himself more as, like, a nerdy guy who just was hot for a brief period of time. That's kind of how he refers to himself, which is just insane and not true. But even Robin Wright, she said that the only reason why she got cast was because she was, like, the 300th person that they auditioned, and she says they must have just been tired. And then Chris Sarandon even made a comment that years ago when Robert Redford was trying to make the movie that he thought he could be Wesley. And then he aged out. Like, he got too old by the time that the movie actually got made. So now he has to be Humperdinck. And he's like, well, I wasn't that good looking anyways. So all these people are beautiful people, but they don't think that they're beautiful people. This is like the epitome of that One Direction song. Like, if you don't know you're beautiful. Like, honestly, listen, if you guys need hype girls, we are available. And
Chris Sarandon, I know Kristina would just love this for herself to be your hype girl.
As we're talking, my Fright Night poster is right in front of me. I love Chris Sarandon. I love him, and he's so good in this movie.
He is really good in this movie.
He's perfect. Even though he's not he doesn't look like Humperdinck, and there's like some differences, but there's still like an evilness to him that is perfectly, quintessential fairy tale.
Oh my God. And don't even get me started on Mandy Patinkin.
Now, Mandy Patinkin is so good, but what do you think about his hair?
I love it. Shut up.
It's weird.
No, I love it. I love this. I love every bit. Every single bit of it is so good.
So is his hair like, it's his natural hair, right, at the top, and then it's kind of like they put a weave, like mid-head, right?
What are those, the halos? Have you seen those?
Yes, yes. It's exactly like that. It's weird. Who has curly hair at the top and straight hair at the back bottom?
Well, it's not super
reversed.
Straight. It's kind of like curly straight towards the back, which my hair does. So
you do not look like Mandy Patinkin, Nikki.
Are you sure?
You've never had Mandy Patinkin hair.
You haven't seen me in a while. Are you sure?
I just walk into your apartment, you've got a fucking mustache.
And I'm really good at sword fighting now. Let's talk about Mandy Patinkin's TikToks for a little bit. This man needs to be protected at all costs. If you have not watched any of Mandy Patinkin's TikToks, I don't know. I cannot emphasize it enough. They bring me
joy.
So much joy watching him try and name TV theme songs. He is. I have no words. Like, I was visualizing what it would be to like meet him, and I feel like I'm going to cry on the podcast, and I cannot do that because actually I can. You know why? It's my party and I cry for water. But
I think it's cool. Like some of these older celebrities, he's one of them. Anthony Hopkins is another one. The ones who have like been able to figure out social media a little bit.
Are you
and
talking
then you
about
just see
that
that they're
Easter
so cute
video?
and fun.
Are you talking about the Anthony Hopkins Easter video I sent you?
That one was a little weird.
Where you're spitting the cake.
I liked it, but it made me feel uncomfortable at the same time. And the reason why is because you can see a little bit of spit inside of his mouth, and that I don't like that.
Was it Grandpa Joe level?
No, I don't want to talk about it. I feel like I was just traumatized all over again. I don't want to talk about it. Grandpa Joe licking.
No, don't talk about it. Don't talk about it. They can listen to the last episode if they want to hear how gross that is.
I don't want. No.
But I feel like Mandy Patinkin brings so much joy and light.
Heart. He brings a lot of heart. And the heart is about him wanting to kill someone.
Yes, but you also want him to get that revenge.
You do.
That whole scene at the Cliffs of Insanity is a masterpiece. The comedic timing between the two of them when he's like, can you hurry up? And he's like, well, you could help. Is so funny. And then
it's so funny.
The athleticism that they both put out for this fighting scene is it's just so well done, and they did all their own stunts except for the super Olympic flip that Carrie does. That's the only thing I think that he didn't do on his own. Everything else is them, and it is so good. And then when you have Chris Sarandon come up and he's doing the retracing of the footsteps, it is the Cliffs of Insanity is my favorite. It is just so good.
Now, speaking of the fight sequence, because, and this is where it's so difficult to separate the book and the movie. The book has like the same, it's the same basic journey.
Yeah.
Like there's the evil zoo that is in the book. There's a couple things that added in the movies, like kind of switched out, but it's really basically like the same thing. And the fight sequences are basically the same, but do you have a preference? Like, which fights do you like better? The way that they're described in the book or in the movie?
Well, the fight sequence at the Cliffs of Insanity in the book is almost pretty much the fight sequence that's in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Even the two of them talking about, like, what moves they're doing. Oh, I see you do the blah, blah, blah. Well, I do the blah, 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 too. You know, that whole thing. It's pretty much the same, and I love it.
Yeah.
They did a really good job
the
with
next one was a little bit better, though, with the...
Yeah, with physics.
Yes.
Physics, yeah. That I think was better in the book than in the movie.
Right, yeah. I was like, I don't know, and it's weird because so often, usually, like, the movies have better fight sequences, but when I read the first one, I was like, okay, basically the same. And then a couple of the later ones, I'm like, I kind of like the book more.
Yeah. But I think a lot of that also probably had to do with the fact that Andre was dealing with the back pain from wrestling.
I love him.
My heart breaks when you read the trivia.
Yeah.
For this movie, and he says that he loved doing this movie because people didn't stare at him.
Yeah.
And oh my God, this is my birthday episode, and I don't want to cry. This is making me very emotional.
I want you to cry. Happy cry, not like sad cry. Happy, sad cry.
I'm sorry, what did you just... Boo!
Cry, or I'll make you cry.
Boo! Boo! Bow down to the Queen of Slime!
No, the Andre, like, one of the stories I read that was so cute was that Rob Reiner was meeting him, and he said something like, I'm concerned about reading, because he wanted him to read.
Yeah.
And he said, I'm concerned about reading because English isn't my first language, and it might not come off great. So he was working with him to do it, and he said something like, well, don't worry, what we'll do is, I can record it, and then you can just hear it and, replicate it for the actual movie. And he goes like, okay, boss, and then like gets up and walks over to read, and he knocks over a chair, and Rob Reiner's like, he was cast before he even started reading, just going, okay, boss, and then walking away. It was done.
And he called everybody boss
because he didn't want people to be afraid of him. How sweet.
Oh God,
Did you read about his last day?
Yeah.
It's so sad. He was just like there to be with his mom, and he liked playing games and cards with people. So that was the way his like last day was, and then his body gave out. So sad.
I don't want to cry anymore. I'm just gonna be sad.
I feel like we need to like spill some alcohol for him or something.
Yeah. All I have is water, coffee, and cookies.
I just have tea, and it's one of my favorite teas, and I don't want to spill it.
Jesse will kill me.
I'll spill some tea, but not this one.
Jesse will kill me if I spill water anywhere near this computer setup. So, we're going to give big ups. Toot toot. And he does so well with this character. When you read the character in the book,
you can't not think of him.
Yeah, exactly. He was perfectly cast for this role. It is him on a page. Like, I cannot describe, like, reading all the stuff about him, and like what you find out with the book, they offer a little bit more backstory about each of the characters. Just a tiny
and I liked
bit.
that. I don't know why, but especially for him, I just thought that was kind of cute.
I thought it was a really good companion piece to the film to have those, because I know that if they put that in the movie, it would have dragged the film down completely. So what we have in the film, chef's kiss, it's beautiful. But adding this little bit on the back end, I thought was wonderful to have that in the back of my mind when I rewatched the movie.
I loved the whole rhyming thing.
Oh my God, I love the explanation of it in the book. It makes it so much better for the film. Ugh.
I just like it because when you have a character like that, and it's, a giant, and those characters are usually just dumb, and they don't have like a lot to do. They're kind of just in the background, and this character actually has heart. And then the rhyming thing I think is fun because there's a certain talent that you need to do that, and like a vocabulary, and to have that character be able to do that and like appreciate it, I think is very fun. And it's a different aspect to his personality that you don't usually get.
Yeah, and it really helps to solidify his friendship.
Yes.
With Indigo versus, everything else. Like, you can tell that the two of them are instantly bonded because they do that together.
That's cute.
It really is. Like, they're looking out for each other. They care for each other.
For both of them, when I was reading the book, I was just thinking of Andre and Mandy. And then with, oh my God, is it Vizini?
Yeah.
Vizini.
Vizini.
Okay, for some reason I'm saying that. I'm like, that's not it. In the book, he's more of like what is that, hunchback?
Yeah. Yeah, he's
his look is like a little bit different, and I did kind of like that. So I was this is one where I was kind of thinking of the movie and the book at the same time because I like both.
Yeah.
And I do think that, like, had they had a Danny DeVito, that would have been kind of cool. He could have been a hunchback.
I don't know. Like, I keep trying to envision Danny DeVito in this movie, and I can't see it because that role was done so well.
Yeah.
It's something that, because even reading the book and going back and rereading some of those lines, I can't see Danny DeVito doing it. And maybe that's because the Danny DeVito in my head is constantly talking about rum ham. I can't.
See? and I think that is absolutely legitimate. But, like, the Danny DeVito in my head, especially this is in the 80s, I'm thinking of Taxi Danny DeVito, which is a slightly different Danny DeVito. And Taxi's older, but really not by much. It's only a few years between the end of Taxi and when they would have been making this movie.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess in the 80s we also had Penguin Batman. Like, Penguin Batman. Penguin Danny DeVito. And he kind of had a hunchback in that. You know, he was all built up, like a waddle.
No, Wallace Shawn is I think he's underrated because even
Definitely.
when we watched Clueless last year, I just loved him in that.
He is an amazing actor that I don't think a lot of people think of. He is such a good character actor, and I know he lives in New York City. I should find him. Because, he was on Gossip Girl. OG Gossip Girl, everybody. Actually, he was on an episode of the remake that's on HBO as well. Not that I watched it or anything or, like, super marathoned it because I was totally obsessed with Gossip Girl growing up, but it doesn't matter. Anyways,
Jesus.
he's an actor that he can play both, he can play both sides. You know what I mean? Like, he's just I think he's a really good actor that doesn't get enough credit for what he does.
And I think he's someone that can be used very well with certain characters. And maybe it's just like directors don't know how to use him or something, so then they don't cast him in things. But he works so well.
He really does. I think justice for Wallace Shawn. He should be in more movies.
What's your favorite... What is your favorite funny line from the book and the movie? Because I've got two, and they're not the same. But I don't know if you've got two and if they're the different or the same.
I really like... I'm not a witch, I'm your wife.
I love Carol Kane, too. I love her so much.
That's probably, like, my favorite... It's probably one of my favorite lines in the whole movie. It cracks me up when she says that. Because it just comes out of nowhere. And then when you read the book, you understand, like, apparently a Miracle Man isn't supposed to be married, but they could have, like, a house witch.
Yeah.
I guess it makes me laugh because I've said that to Jesse.
Really? That's funny.
I'm not a witch, I'm your wife. It cracks me up. But I think that's probably, like, tippity top, one of my favorites. Wait, what's yours? Tell me now. Tell me your two favorite.
Okay, in the movie, it's because it's so dumb. I love every time, and this has been my favorite quote for a while. It cracks me up every time I see the movie. It's when Chris Sarandon shows up and he goes, "Surrender." Wesley says, "You mean you wish to surrender? Yes. Very well, I accept." I don't know why it makes me laugh so hard. I think it's just such a good, like, straight man setup for that response. It's so good. And then in the book, this had me laugh out loud, where I was reading the book in bed and I woke Carlos up. And then I pretended like I was not the reason why he woke up. Like, I don't know why. But it's at the very end when and it's actually kind of sad. Like, we should definitely talk about the ending because it's different. At the end, hold on, this is one thing I wrote down so I wouldn't forget it. Okay. The narrator stops the story and he cuts out parts and then he goes, Buttercup's about to die and she thinks of foliage. It's so funny. And I like that line because, like, the first line from before, it's just very, like, almost vaudevillian level comedy. And that's very, like, Rob Reiner, I think. But, like, the way this one is done, I like because it sort of makes fun of a lot of these fantasy stories and fairy tales and literature that tends to overwrite and goes into purple prose, and it makes everything so beautiful and everything, where they would have a princess like look up at the trees and think how beautiful they are as she's dying, and the normal person would be like, for real?
Yeah.
Is that really what you're thinking about in your last moments?
Oh wait, I forgot it. Marriage.
I always think of The Office now, though.
See, spoiler alert, I've never watched The Office.
What?
Yeah. I mean, when I was doing physical therapy for my hand, because I have carpal tunnel, and I had to do it for work.
Brag.
They used to... Sorry about it. I typed too many emails.
Sorry, you don't.
My work.
How many
paid
tunnels
for
do
it.
you have?
I have carpals. When I was doing physical therapy, they would have it on TV. So I've seen parts of episodes, but I've never watched.
The Office is good.
I've also never watched Parks and Rec. So there you go, everybody. I'm a terrible human being, and y'all know it.
Why don't I make you a deal?
Listen.
You watch The Office, and I will tell you I am going to watch Gossip Girl.
Lies!
I will not.
Listen. No one has to watch Gossip Girl. You can also watch The OC. Anyway.
Ooh, no.
Awful people.
Now,
You guys all
let's
suck.
talk though about the different ending.
Yeah, it's both. Okay, so it's almost similar. You know, it's the same
Very
situation. Buttercup
To
is
start.
like, yeah, the whole marriage happens.
It's just such a hard choice that they decided to go with. It's so funny.
It's so good. Marriage.
And I like when he's doing this, and then it cuts to the audience, and they're all so straight-faced.
Yeah.
Like, nobody,
No one's
there's not a
laughing.
single cracked smile.
I would have been cut from this movie so fast as an extra
I would
because
too.
you would have said marriage, and I would have been like, I'm out. Can't do it.
I would have, like, ugly laughed with,
Yeah.
like, snot coming out of my nose. It would not be good.
Well, wait, but while we're talking about laughter, before we get to the ending, Mandy Patinkin apparently cracked a rib.
Yeah.
Because it was holding in
I did see
laughter
that.
for Billy Crystal, and Rob Reiner couldn't even be on set. Like, this is what I'm saying, is that is I would Rob Reiner myself. I'd be like, I'm out. You guys film without me. I'll come back when it's safe.
You know, that was one thing that I read about, was that Billy Crystal, Rob Reiner had, like, really talked up Carrie to Billy Crystal, like, oh, he looks just like Douglas Fairbanks, and he's so funny. He did this Bill Cosby impression. It was so funny. Wait until you meet him. And that Billy Crystal met him, and he was like, that's the guy. It was just because it was like an off day, and then the second day they met, they were like very cool with each other. But I like that idea of, like, that's him.
That is him, and he is gorgeous. Anyways,
He's so perfect.
he's really perfect. He's perfect. And what's great is that he's perfect in this, and then he plays Robin Hood in Robin Hood Men in Tights, and he is once again, like, playing the straight guy-ish. And he's so good in that, too. Oh my God. I should have had his picture on my wall as a kid instead of Hanson. No offense, Hanson. No offense to Zach Hanson, but...
Oh, you've got a type, huh?
Blonde hair, blue eyes.
Yeah, baby dolls.
Yeah.
Adorable. Baby face angels.
Yeah, little baby face angels. Adorableness. Fun accents. I mean, Jesse's got a Canadian accent every once in a while. I do love an accent. Anyways, the ending. So the wedding scene goes off, because I'm not going to say the M word again. The wedding scene goes off just like it... It goes off just like in the movie, you know, where they skip ahead to man and wife. And Buttercup goes back to her chambers. Well, I guess, no, and it's Prince Humperdinck's chambers where she's going to kill herself. And it's basically like the same to that point. Like they escape and everything. That's all pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Like the whole to the death? No.
And it's the same thing too, where Wesley gets hurt and then he gets revived. Like all of that's through it too.
But then we get the end where it's like,
and Ego gets stabbed. He's got the like open wound.
And Physic got the horses. He was wandering around. He's like, I found those horses.
Yeah, I like that part too.
So good. And then they escape. And then the narrator cuts back in and is like, well, I mean, that's it. But also, it's almost like Clue. But this could have also happened. But it gets real.
Yeah, it's like it's funny you say choose your own adventure, because what I like about the meta thing here and the narrator coming in and editing the story basically to the kid is that, like, Buttercup's ending could actually be far darker than what you think it is. And that perhaps he's basically an unreliable narrator. Like, you can't trust necessarily the ending that you're given because it could actually be worse and he is sugarcoating it. Yeah.
And that's just because that's how his dad... He says his dad did it for him.
Right.
Didn't they get lost? Where's my... I don't have my book with me. Oh, no. Kristina, do you want to read the ending? Do you have your book with you?
I don't have... We said we didn't have to have the books.
I know.
I don't know. I can go get it. We can pause here.
No, it's okay. It's basically... we can talk through it. We know what happens. They ride off into the sunset, and... They argue and they fight, and I mean they do everything up to that point has been a fairy tale, and then you get to the ending and it is 4 people on horses, figuring out where to go and what to do and how to survive because they can't go back to where they were from.
Yeah.
And it's a very brief paragraph.
Yeah.
So it's not anything like super dramatic, but to the point about the interjecting narrator, at the beginning he says that he is going to be interjecting himself throughout the book, and he will italicize when he interjects himself, so you can choose to skip those parts if you wish,
which I love. I think it's very cool.
Yeah. And now I want to reread the book without reading his interjections.
Yeah.
And just do it straight and see how I feel.
Yeah.
Because I think that'd be fun.
I thought that though, because basically he has this idea of passing on this story to his child because his dad read it to him. Then the kid's like bored of it and he realizes that his dad had been making edits and he didn't like realize that. So now it's his job to do it, right? Yeah. So it's cool because I feel like in a way it's kind of making fun of these stories. It's making fun of writers, but it's also a discussion about nostalgia and how the way we think of things when we look back on it might not be the way it actually was. Our memories can sometimes trick us into thinking that the reality was something different. And this is one where the parent is guiding that reality and altering it. So we have that, all of us have it, little things like Santa Claus, or like one that I remembered was that I remember getting a participation award when I did this like bowling alley thing. And then I found out my parents gave that to me and it was not actually from the bowling competition. My parents did it because I know, and they were like so proud of me that they wanted to give this to me, and I thought I got it for being good. And it's funny because like it's funny for me to have learned that, like, oh, okay, well, I guess I was an idiot 5-year-old and I didn't realize that, but it's something where you look back and you go, huh, well, my parents must have loved me for doing that. So he's like, my dad must have loved me for changing it so that we could bond over it, but I was lied to.
Yeah.
Like that also means that I wasn't believing what the truth is. But also maybe it's better. Maybe it's better to kind of change this a little bit because maybe it's not as good as I thought. Maybe you do kind of have to take just the good parts and give that to the kid because at the end of the day, those are the parts that really matter.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's a really cool thought process.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm still reeling from... I think that's extremely sweet that your parents did that. I think
it's very sweet.
And
I was also lied to.
Kristina, tell me where your trust issues began. No, I think it's extremely sweet. And yeah, I agree. I think the good parts, it's definitely the good parts that you remember about everything. Like, you're not going to look back on any moment in your life and dwell on the crap about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, I was hit by a car, but you know what? My iPhone survived, and I talk about that all the time. Like, listen, they had those metal backs, you guys. The original iPhones were made of, like, titanium. They were made of, like, what's the stuff from Black Panther? The basically Wolverine claws. Like, that's...
Adamantium?
That's it. Adamantium. That's what my iPhone was made out of this because nothing happened to it, you guys. I tell everybody about this and how I wish I had that back because now if I look at my iPhone, it might break.
But maybe you just need a titanium back.
Well,
Have you tried to get a titanium back?
They don't make those anymore, Kristina. Now they're all glass backs. Jesus, Kristina, it's like you don't even pay any attention.
I do remember those different backs too, because did you remember how quickly they would overheat?
Yes.
The iPhones.
Oh, yeah.
I remember being at the beach and I had my iPhone out and I was playing music and it died because the sun was making it too hot and it overheated. If
those phones got too hot or too cold, you just couldn't use your phone.
They were really, like, you couldn't touch it. It was so hot.
Yeah. See, that's us dwelling on the good part. Like,
and I'm sorry, and it is adamantium in the comic books. It's also vibranium in the current Marvel films because they could not use adamantium. Just want to correct myself from before.
There we go. Look at us. Look at us getting our corrections in early.
Well, because I could just picture my husband listening to this while he's painting and just screaming at his computer. Very upset with me for fucking that up.
You're wrong. You lose.
You witch. I'm not your witch. I'm your wife.
I love it so much. I cannot say enough good things about...
I kept getting surprised because I've only seen Princess Bride. This is probably like my 4th time watching it. I kept getting surprised at how little time people had in the movie that I thought were in it for much longer. It's like Wallace Shawn, Billy Crystal, Carol Kane. Like, I thought all of them had a couple more scenes. And I'm like, oh my God, they're barely in this movie, but they're so good. And they steal every scene that they're in.
Yeah, they do. I will tell you, I was on a flight recently. And I do something weird when I'm on a flight, you guys. Don't worry about it. I basically sleep through the whole flight. Now I have to explain it because that sounded weird. I take a Benadryl to help knock me out. Don't come at me. Leave me alone. I love my process. Go away. And I watched a whole movie, slept through a whole movie, and then we were going into our descent, and I was like, oh, I still have time. I'll put something on while I, like, get all my stuff together, and they had The Princess Bride available. And I was like, done. And I put it on, and I made it to the cliffs of insanity, and then we were all leaving, and as as everybody was standing up, the guy behind me goes, "They have The Princess Bride? Are you kidding me?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he goes, "It's my favorite movie." I was like, "Oh, I really like it too." He's like, "No, like I've seen it like 100 times." And I had this full-on converstion with a complete stranger who was like, he has watched this movie his entire life. And he was so mad that he didn't know it was available to watch on the flight. And it's one of those things where it's like, I think that's what I love so much about The Princess Bride is it's, once again, a universal film. It has, literally, the book and the movie both say that it has something for everyone. You know, you've got sword fights, you've got death, you've got love, you've got a princess, you got a prince. Everybody is covered with this movie.
Well, the thing I like about the movie is that it does what I like, where it pokes fun at these types of stories while simultaneously paying homage to them.
Yeah.
And I love that. And it's very drag to do. Yeah. And it's very tricky to do. Like, this is not a satire. Like, it's not a straight satire, but it's also not just a straight fairy tale. It's a little bit of both. And, like, the thing that I think is really cool, that the book, I think, the whole storyteller aspect of it is a little bit more apparent throughout it, whereas in the movie there's like longer scenes, I think, without any interruption. But the way that it was directed is that it's pulling from a lot of different films where you've got the epic, like, Captain Blood, like, old school Fairbanks movie.
Yeah.
Like, hold on. Like, I watched Captain Blood because I was like, okay, I want to see some old Fairbanks stuff and see what's there. There is the exact same shot of when Andre the Giant knocks out Buttercup and he like barely touches her and then she goes and like passes out. It's so funny because it's so like clearly she's barely even hit and then she passes out. It's very funny. The exact same shot happens in Captain Blood. So it's like, it's cool because they're pulling that kind of stuff where it might look a little cheap or gimmicky when they're fighting and you see the screen behind, the clouds aren't moving. Like, that's all done on purpose. They really were on location for most of it. Like, they could have done the Lord of the Rings thing where everything looks really realistic, but they specifically wanted things like a little foam castle up at the top in the background with these old school matte painting backgrounds like in the 1930s and 40s. I love it. I think it's so cool and purposeful.
Yeah, it makes it feel timeless.
It does. It feels so timeless. It doesn't feel very dated.
No, it doesn't. And it's funny because there's not a lot of movies we can say that about. Yeah. You know, like, especially for you and me, we've watched CGI really grow. We've watched CGI grow from, like, I can remember seeing some things and being like, oh my God, this looks brilliant. And then you rewatch it and you're like, ooh, girl, are you okay?
Yeah.
Like, remember in the first Harry Potter when Neville Longbottom flies on that broom?
Yes.
Oh, that ain't him.
Well, it's like Titanic. Like Titanic, the best parts of Titanic are all of the models and the actual ships and stuff that they built. And then there are a lot of like good CGI moments, but there's a lot of really bad ones. Like that scene where you see all of the cartoon people walking on the deck.
Yes.
It doesn't work. And it's because that CGI stuff, they try to push it too hard in the wrong spaces.
And that's what's so great about this movie is that they knew. I think they knew that they could get away with doing, because they, like you said, a lot of it is shot on location. Like, they are running through those mountaintops, riding those horses. Even the castle that they film in is a real castle. Like, there's a lot of practicality going on. But when they take a step back and you see the fakery behind it, I love it even more.
I do too. I really love it. And I like when... Like, if you ever look at the costuming for this movie is actually pretty good. Yeah. Like, when you look at Humperdinck and Buttercup and the details of, like, the embroidery and stuff and the different fabrics that they used, it's pretty good. But then they choose to have these... They're filming in a castle, and instead of, like, filling certain scenes with, like, actual props, instead they're doing that cheap thing that the old Hammer movies did, where it's just, like, one fucking candelabra and, like, a curtain. Yeah. And that's it. There's no more props. There's no more set dressing. That's it. And I like it, and I feel like that was a conscious choice.
Yeah, and I also, sometimes when I look at things like that, too, I think it's, like, the Tiffany syndrome. Do you know what I'm talking about?
What's the Tiffany syndrome?
That's where it's a thing with historians and stuff like that, where it's like the name Tiffany is actually like thousands of years old. But when you hear the name Tiffany, you don't think like biblical, you know? No. You think, 1980s. So you're not going to write, Jane Austen's not going to write a book and have a character named, Tiffany, even though there were people named Tiffany or Tiffany, however they pronounced it. You're not going to... Yeah, Kristina, I went fancy on you. Jane Austen's not going to write about Tiffany.
Imagine working at like a bank. All right, thanks, Tiffany. Actually, it's pronounced Tiffany.
It's actually Tiffany. But like Jane Austen will never write a book. Because she's dead.
She's dead, though.
She would have never written a book set in a Regency era where the main character, like Mr. Darcy, falls in love with Tiffany. Doesn't have the same ring.
Well, no, it would be like Tiffany and she meets Zachary Darcy.
Yeah, but it's that sort of thing where people won't believe something because it doesn't feel true. Like, if you look at the cabinetry on the Golden Girls, none of them have knobs. But if you were to... they're just flat cabinets. But if you were to recreate the set and you didn't have knobs, then people are going to think, how do they get in there? Even though we all know that they didn't have... That's such a thing. Like, the Golden Girls didn't have knobs, you guys, because you're wondering. Doesn't bother anybody else? Nope. Okay. Moving on. But it's that sort of thing. So I wonder if there's this whole thing where it's like if we went back and looked at, a castle legit back in the olden days, did they actually have a lot of stuff hanging up on their walls? Because it would have taken hundreds of years to get a painting. Yeah. So maybe they were just bare walls, but we think it's weird because we're so used to watching the Tudors and it's filled with like, dozens of flowers everywhere and like super paintings and jewelry and all that crap.
Yeah, yeah.
So maybe it's a Tiffany thing. I don't know.
No, I feel like the one thing I wish I had done I wish I had more time to do just a little bit more research on the pirate part of this, because I feel like they pulled stuff from that. Have you been watching Our Flag Means Death?
We haven't started it yet, but it's on our list.
Okay. You should watch it. I actually think I'm enjoying it. I only have one more episode to go, and then I'm done with what they have so far.
And then I am finished, because that's how shows work. Hi, do you know
that's
how shows
how it works?
work? Let me mansplain how TV shows work. So when you get to the last episode,
I only have 12 more pages in my book, and then I'm done with that book. That I don't think you understand. The book will be finished.
Yeah, and then it's over. Like it doesn't.
No, as much as I have been enjoying Our Flag Means Death, I think that you would actually like it even more than I will, because there's some cool stuff that they do. It's not the same as like, because it's, the whole Taika thing and that crew, but it's not the same as like Flight of the Conchords or What We Do in the Shadows. Yeah. So don't think that it's the same type of comedy. But there's some cool stuff. And one of the things is that, Blackbeard is in it, and the ship is called the Revenge. And I'm reading this, and the Dread Pirate Robert's ship is called the Revenge. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, wait a minute. That can't be a coincidence that they're both named the Revenge. And I look it up, and it's not a coincidence. He took that because there was actually like 13 different ships, I think, that were called the Revenge. But Blackbeard had one. It was called like the Queen's Revenge. And then the other guy had one, and it was called the Revenge. And that is probably where it shows up here, which is cool. And I wish I had a little bit more time to do some research into the Goldman stuff that he was looking at.
Yeah.
From like piracy to different fairy tales, because it seems like this is a collection of a lot of different stuff.
Yeah. So it's like he pulled a lot from actual, and I mean that's what most fairy tales are based in, or some sort of.
It's neat though. Yeah. It's neat, and it's neat that this movie was made in the 80s. So the book came out in the 70s and the movie was made in the 80s, because in collecting all these different fairy tales in actual places, then the movie gets to do the same thing in looking at other movies that did this stuff in the past few years.
Yeah.
And like even the music is so funny. The music is this weird mix of like synthesizers and orchestral, and it's just strange. And it's so Princess Bride. It's just, I can't imagine this music playing in any other movie because it's just so perfect for this one.
It's funny you mention the music because it's one of those things that there are a lot of movies where the orchestration kind of takes over the scene.
Yes.
This is one where unless I am focused on the music, it's almost as if I don't even notice that it's there because I'm so into what I'm seeing versus what I'm hearing.
I'm the opposite. Like I really love the music and it sticks out to me because I think it's another wink and a nod to the audience. It's another one that's saying like we know what we're doing here.
Do you speaking of the music then, I guess you must love the theme song that plays during the credits.
I laughed. I forgot that there was a theme song to this movie until it started to play at the end.
I love it. It is.
You should have played it at your wedding.
I really should have. It is just so. It is so 80s.
Yeah. It is very 80s.
I'm trying to look up the lyrics because the lyrics make me laugh.
The love theme or theme song at the end of a movie makes me laugh, and I love it so much. It's like this kitschy kind of thing that you don't see all the time, but I really appreciate it. And if you can mix that with like maybe a freeze frame at the end of a movie,
yes,
you're setting me up for a nice walk away.
Yes. I think
if it goes freeze frame and then theme song, sweet.
You mean The Breakfast Club?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
My love is like a storybook love, but it's as real as the feelings I feel. It's as real as the feelings I feel.
Are you saying this to me?
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. As you wish.
Reciprocated. There's the top-notch lyrics right there.
Yeah. I will say one of my favorite lines from the book is I just really like it. When Buttercup realizes that she's in love with Wesley in the book.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Wait, you love me back?" And he's like, oh. He's basically like, "Are you stupid?" And then he says, "My God, if your love were a grain of sand, why mine would be a universe of beaches."
Aww. It's cute though.
It really is cute. I love it.
I did like there is a change in Buttercup, I think, from the book to the movie. I feel like in the book she's more of like dumb Cinderella in the original story, and in the movie she's a little bit more Drew Barrymore playing Cinderella.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like she's kind of I think she's like quicker and more intelligent in the movie, and little things like that. Like she figures out As You Wish on her own, and she figures out that she loves him. Wait, I might have gotten this wrong because I started reading this a while ago. Okay, doesn't she say? Isn't it like the only reason why she figures out that she even loves him is because she's jealous?
Yeah.
She's like, jealousy means love.
Yeah, because
like, ooh, that's a little toxic, girl. Like that's
the king and queen come to look at the cows on the, and the queen is like, really, really has her eyes on the farm boy. Emphasis on the boy part. Not man, not the farm man, the farm boy. And
she has a clueless moment.
She does. I love Josh. That's exactly what happens.
Totally freaking in love with Josh.
She loves Josh. That's what happened. Spoiler alert. His name is Josh. No,
the Dread Pirate Josh.
Perfect. Sounds great.
I do love the thought that he may be passing the Dread Pirate torch.
Yeah.
I love that. I think that's so cute.
Because he doesn't need it anymore. He has love.
He has love, but Montoya still has, like, he finished this thing, but what does he have now? So it kind of makes sense for him to take over the title.
Oh my God, yes.
So cute.
It really does. And then you have you've got your own Brute Squad to tell everybody that he's been he's been the Dread Pirate Roberts the whole time.
Yeah.
You are the Brute Squad. every line for this is so good.
Previously, we were talking about the CGI.
Yeah.
If this movie had been made in the last, 15, 20 years,
no,
the rodents of unusual size would have 100% been CGI.
Yes, they would have. And watching it now, it would have looked like crap.
It would look like shit.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that they did practical effects with those, because I think they're so fun. And they look so cool.
Yeah.
And him, wrestling one, and it's clearly just like a prop.
Yeah.
There's nobody in it. Very funny.
I think that if the film had been made more recently, within the last 10 years, the entire fire swamp scene would be completely different.
Yeah.
And I do not jive with that.
Yeah.
I can't. I don't even want to think about it. That upsets me. You know what upsets me even more? I know that they're going to his boat. They're going to his boat because they're going to sail away and live happily ever after. They don't make it... Prince Humperdinck never says that he has his guys on the other side of the fire swamp. Why didn't they just go back?
I've thought that in other scenarios. Why didn't they just go back?
Why didn't he just go back? All his guys are right there. You don't have to surrender. You've lived through the fire swamp. You know what to expect. Just go back. What's the worst that could happen?
I do like, though, when he says to Buttercup, listen, we've already done this, this, and that. We're good.
Yeah. We can live there happily. Oh my goodness. It's just so good. This movie brings me so much joy. And what I loved was when you sent me a message after you had watched it.
I don't remember what I said. What did I say?
You were like, I can't take my eyes away.
I loved this movie a lot this time around, because this was not one that I owned on VHS. It's not one that I owned on DVD, and my parents didn't like it. So I only saw it once, I think, in high school, and I didn't grow up on this movie at all. So I saw it once in high school. I saw it again in my early 20s, again maybe 7 years ago, and every time I watch it, I like it more. And this time around, I just loved it. I'm I love this beginning to end, and I cannot. This is hurting me.
Yeah.
How much I like this movie. It's so good. It's everything. It's a little bit old Hollywood. It's fantasy. It's the one thing I like about Goldman, and the way he's told this story, and the way that it does the homage and the making fun of at the same time, is that it's able to kind of do the George R.R. Martin Game of Thrones thing without too much of the God complex that just makes your audience hate everything constantly. It's you can still do that without making it unwatchable.
Yeah. I have some upsetting news for our listening audience, because Kristina said something to me before we started recording that upset me greatly.
Oh no.
And this, on the day of my birth. You come to me on my birthday, and you tell me you could see them remaking The Princess Bride?
You come into my house on the day of my birth, and you tell me. Yeah, I do think it could be remade.
No.
And I think that Adam McKay can be the director.
No.
And it would be bomb.
No.
I do.
No, you can keep talking. I'm just going to keep saying no. 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 No.
This is... There's been ones like how Stella got her groove back. Okay. Dead set. If I were a producer and I was green lighting certain projects, and if How Stella came up on my table, I would immediately stamp it. Yes, absolutely. This needs to be a TV show.
Yeah.
Where are we going to put it? Strong cast. Yes, this is absolutely something that can be remade. Princess Bride comes across my desk. Not so much. Then I find out that Adam McKay wants to do it. I'm like, okay, this is interesting. I would like to hear some more. Okay. So I don't think it necessarily needs to be remade. I just said I could see it getting a remake.
All right. Well, then who would you cast? Kristina the remaker?
I don't know. And I'll say this too. The only part that I think would be extremely difficult is Andre the Giant, because he is just so perfect and sweet, and it's a once-in-a-lifetime type of, the stars aligned for Andre the Giant to be alive and well enough to do the movie, to play that part. He's really the only one that I'm like, I don't fucking know. I don't know who you would put in his place.
They would Gollum him. He'd be all CGI.
I hate that.
He'd be all
see,
CGI.
that's when, if I were the producer and they said that, I'd be like, no, thank you.
Because that's exactly what they would do.
No, I don't like
There's
it.
no one else who could do that part.
Yeah, I don't like it.
But
yeah, I do stand by what I said, though. I do think this can get another remake.
I don't.
I'm sorry to insult you on the day of your birth.
I'm so devastated by this that I just cannot continue. But I must, for the people, for the listeners, for Mandy Patinkin's honor, I will.
I do love Mandy Patinkin in this movie.
He's just so good. Oh my God, he's just so good. And he's so funny. Everyone is so funny. Like, this is why I think it upsets me so much that you're like, yeah, I could see it being remade, because this is a mummy. You literally said it. It's like The Mummy. I could never see somebody remaking The Mummy. I mean, we all saw what happened when they made a mummy movie that didn't have Brendan Fraser in it, didn't we? It was not good. It's that sort of scenario where I don't think you could.
Yeah.
I just don't see it. I can understand why someone would want to. I get that. But it could never and would never live up to what we have. And I don't think it's humanly possible. It's a Gone with the Wind situation. All the stars had to align for this to happen this way.
But sometimes think about High Fidelity. High Fidelity, we love that movie, and we love the TV show. And the movie is closer to the book than the TV show is. But they both work, and they can both live in our lives.
But I think what High Fidelity had going for it is what we talked about, is that you could literally take the story and place it anywhere in the world, as long as there is, a centralized store and a main character going through past relationships. I don't think you can take any little bit from The Princess Bride and put it somewhere else.
See, and this is where I disagree, because I think that one of the things that we talked about with the movie that makes it so great is that it's timeless. And in it being timeless, because they are pulling from all these different areas, it's hard to put it like this is from X time. This came out, was it 1987? Was it 1981? Like, was it 1990? I don't know. But the cool part about it, and what I was talking about, like nostalgia and all of that, if you take that, especially now when everybody's like so rock hard about 80s nostalgia, and now we're even going into like 90s nostalgia, I think people need to kind of let go of the past. I think they kind of need to let go and like move forward a little bit. And now's like, I think, a pretty good time to have that conversation, and to have, what if Adam McKay had a TV show that was Princess Bride, and it did a little bit more of that, like leaning into talking to the audience and changing the story around it. That could both be very funny and also kind of a exercise in what is reality and what do we choose as the story. It gives us power, but also allows us to move away from the past.
I think what you're trying to talk about is the 10th Kingdom, and it's been done.
I love the 10th Kingdom. Okay, I love the 10th Kingdom. Everybody should know that I love the 10th Kingdom. But the 10th Kingdom, and this is the difference, the 10th Kingdom is very campy.
It is very
10th
campy.
Kingdom, if I saw the 10th Kingdom now, for the first time at my age, I would not like it as much as I did when I was a kid.
That's a lie. I can tell you that straight up.
It is not a lie. It is not a lie.
No, Kristina, I can tell you straight up. If I sent you my DVD box set of the 10th Kingdom and you watched it, you would watch it
for the first time, not a repeat time. The first time, I would not like it as much.
No, I think that you would. I think you would.
So.
I think that especially now, like you said, with this repeated history being regurgitated all over everything, I think you would watch that and you would see actors that you have seen in other things, and you'd be like, oh, okay, I should watch. Cameron Manheim as Snow White, okay. Let's see what's going on. What are these trolls doing? What is this? You would watch it because of RuPaul's Drag Race.
Oh, fucking no.
Don't they dance to Staying Alive at one point?
Listen, they do. They sing it when they're on the boat.
Yes, You would watch this because of the camp factor of RuPaul's Drag Race, and you would be in it to win it, and then you'd watch the next season of RuPaul's Drag Race and be like, why didn't anyone dress like one of the trolls from the 10th Kingdom for Snatch Game? It's such an easy thing to do.
You know what one of my favorite troll lines is? It's when he's got all of the self-help books that Wolf took, and then he goes, look at this. He's like, women who love men who hate women. Nicey nice. I don't know why I think about that line, but I think about it a good amount of time.
I am officially, as soon as this is over, I am officially rewatching the 10th Kingdom.
See, you know what? Oh my God, you know what I should do? Because usually around my birthday, on my birthday, I always watch like a movie. Like I always pick one that I either really like or whatever. But sometimes I'm a little evil. And I just pick something that I know Carlos will say no to because he can't say no on my birthday.
10th
so maybe
Kingdom.
I'll do like a 10-hour birthday.
Yes.
Just watch all 10th Kingdom.
Start right in the morning. Have your breakfast. Yes. Have your breakfast and watch the 10th Kingdom. I can still, the opening credits to the 10th Kingdom.
Wishing on a star.
Follow where you are. In case people don't know, I know a lot of people give Hallmark Channel original movies a bad rap. Hallmark made the 10th Kingdom, so suck it.
But then it was presented on NBC, right?
Yes, it was, but it was a Hallmark.
It was like
it is
Hallmark produced, but then NBC distributed.
Yeah, but it
gives it a little bit more clout.
It's still a Hallmark Channel original movie.
I know.
And it's the first one we've ever seen. And I, for years, stood by the fact that I had never seen a Hallmark Channel original movie. And then I saw that Hallmark was on the back of my DVD box set. And I was like, I've been ruined from the beginning.
You've been bamboozled.
I have. I've been hoodwinked. Anyways.
Wait, I have the strangest question for you.
What?
In the 10th Kingdom, you know the prince?
Yes.
Did you think he was cute?
I don't think I did.
Okay.
Why? Wait, who plays the prince? Now I have to look it back up.
He's just like a British guy, but he's blonde and he's got blue eyes. Because I'm just sitting here thinking, I'm like, you know, she's got her Hanson and her Wesley, and then I've got Chris Sarandon and fucking Wolf and all these guys, like tall guys, dark hair, dark eyes, dark eyebrows. Bad guy, good guy, we're not sure.
Oh, yeah, he has like darker hair. Prince Wendell. Anyways, whatever. I did meet Scott Cohen on a subway once.
Did you meet him or did you just take a picture of him?
I waved. It was fine. Well, okay, you guys, it's my birthday, so we're going off on a little bit of a tangent because it had been raining out and I was going to Central Park for Shakespeare in the Park because they were doing Into the Woods, which seems so perfect for me to run into.
I was sitting here like, are you fucking kidding me?
It was so good.
Are you fucking kidding me? You went to go see Into the Woods and saw Scott Cohen the same day?
Yeah. Yeah, it's, you know.
I'm so jealous right now.
It's like, feels like 100 years ago when that happened. But before that, I want to make sure I know the title of it. I don't even have to look it up. He was actually in before he was in the 10th Kingdom, and it might have been the same year. I am not 100% certain on this. But before I got on that subway to go to Central Park to go see Into the Woods, it was raining out, and I was in the apartment watching Lifetime, and what was on TV? Perfect Murder, Perfect Town, the John Benet Ramsey story where he plays an investigator.
He's played so many investigators and detectives.
He has. But I legit was literally watching him on screen and went, oh no, I have to leave. Got on the subway, 2 stops in, who gets on my subway?
Stop it.
And I was losing. I was like, oh my God.
My smile hurts right now because I can't even imagine the like kismet stars that aligned for this perfect moment in your life.
Wishing on a star.
As you're like on, but wait a minute, you were in the 10th Kingdom at the time.
I was in the 10th Kingdom. Oh my God. See, this conversation right here is why I can never meet anybody from The Princess Bride, because if this is how I reacted when I waved at a guy from the 10th Kingdom, could you imagine if I'm on the subway and I turn around and there's Mandy Patinkin just on the subway? I think I would lose the ability to stand.
You know, that was one thing actually that was very, very sweet in the As You Wish book, because, and actually it was in the As You Wish book, and then I ended up reading a Chris Sarandon interview that confirmed it. Don't read into anything. So, basic.
Oh no, go on.
No judgment. So Carrie was basically talking about how much the fans mean to them, and how he has not once, like, gotten tired of it, and how, like, just how much he appreciates. He's like, I might want to be known for different things, like, oh, I thought I had the best dramatic performance in this movie or whatever. But knowing that I will probably die and be best known for the rest of my life for Princess Bride is such an honor. And he's like, that's so cool. And I'm so lucky to have that, which I thought was really cool and very sweet, because a lot of actors will kind of fight against that.
Yeah.
So I thought it was cool that, you know, he has a very realistic tone to it. But then the very cute thing was that both him and Chris Sarandon, I'm pretty sure that this part of this is not in the book, it's in a different interview I read, but they were saying out of all of them, Mandy Patinkin is the one that they have never seen say no to a picture or an autograph or talking to someone. And he is just extremely kind and personable, and he just loves fans, and he just is very warm and giving, kind of like a Lady Gaga. Like, he's that level with them. And I just thought that was so sweet and so cute. And it just goes to show that sometimes when you watch movies, and he's got so much heart on screen, that sometimes actors, you really are seeing them through these characters.
Yeah.
Like, you really are seeing, like, the soul of a person and the truth of a person through a performance. So if that's true and you do get the heart from him in the movie, it's just because it's real. It's legit.
Do you think he's gonna listen to this?
We love you, Mandy.
I love you so much. I love you so much. If you're ever in New York City and you want to grab coffee, please don't ask me, because I'll just cry.
I loved you in Yentl.
I loved you in
Also,
Evita.
I just watched Taxi, and I saw the scene that you were in. You were really funny, too. It was very funny. Good job.
Can we perform scenes from Evita together in my apartment? Is that weird? Is that a weird ask? I don't know if that's a weird ask. Maybe it's a weird ask. I just want...
Wait, are you asking me?
No, I'm asking Mandy Patinkin. Kristina, go away. I'm talking to... Hi, Mandy.
Oh, okay. It's like you just pushed my face out of the frame.
Oh, my goodness.
So
No,
good.
we're really good friends. We're really good friends. Kristina, do you wanna be in my apartment production of Evita with me and Mandy Patinkin?
Yes, please. What if he did it? Nikki, what if he said yes?
Shut up.
Don't crack at the pressure. Don't set yourself up for failure.
I can't hit those high notes, Kristina.
Maybe just pick 2 songs.
I
Just
don't
pick 2,
know.
not the whole thing. Just pick 2 songs.
Oh my god. I can't live up to Patti LuPone. What are you talking about? We'll do something easy. Oh my god. Can we do Sunday in the Park with George? Oh my god. Can we do Sunday in the Park with George?
You know, as actually we're sitting here talking about this, and this is where I do kind of agree that they could do a remake, but there is a preciousness over this movie, and part of the reason why is because the ensemble cast is just so well assembled. Like, it is an Avengers assembled moment.
It is
like,
the
they're all
Avengers.
so good. And the same thing is in the Mummy. Like, I wouldn't replace a single person in the Mummy, even down to the small characters. They're all perfect. But like the cool thing about this cast, you've got new up and coming people with Wesley and Buttercup. Both of them, you know, hadn't been seen by too many audiences. And then the rest of the people are all, like, very well known and established, but none of them are bangers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, this isn't 1987 and it's starring, like, the top people of 1987 at all. Like, there's no, maybe Billy Crystal? Like, probably Billy Crystal is maybe the biggest, I guess, quote unquote, like, name.
But even he's wearing, like, so much makeup that unless you were 100% certain
Right.
that it was him, you wouldn't. I mean, he kind of keeps most of his face, but you know what I mean. Like, the makeup really disguises it a lot.
And it's cool, though. And it's cool that each of them are so well... The ones that are established are so well established. Like, you've got Mandy Patinkin, who is this really cool person because he's done really good work on screen, but he's also a thespian, and that has like its own different like vibe to it. And then you've got Chris Sarandon, who has his Oscar performance in Dog Day Afternoon, and he's got like really cool works that he's done. So he's a little bit of the Oscar darling and doing these weird movies, but then he's also doing super genre movies. He's done a lot of horror by this point and some sci-fi. And you've got Christopher Guest, who is this like comedy genius, but he's not in a comedy part. Like, his part is not funny at all. It's actually very serious, and he's probably more sinister even than Humperdinck. So I don't know. It's just like this really cool collection of different people.
I often forget that it's Christopher Guest. because I can't, you look at
his Nancy Reagan haircut.
It's just so good. It's the same thing with the music for me. I get so lost in it. I know I've seen these people in so many other things, but when you're watching this film, you are watching this film. Like, you just can't, unless you're my husband who fell asleep. He fell asleep the other night when we were watching it and then convinced me that he was awake the whole time.
See, this is the third time almost in a row that Carlos has done this. He did this for Princess Bride, Willy Wonka, and Ever After, where he's like, you could just throw it on. And I'm like, okay. And then that motherfucker was watching it. I know he was watching it, even though he pretended like he wasn't interested. All three of them, he definitely slept through parts of, but all three of them, he was definitely watching too. So don't act like you're not interested.
Come on. Guys, you can watch The Princess Bride. It's okay. There's sword fighting. You'll like it.
Don't be a Fred Savage about it.
Yeah, don't be a Fred Savage. One day you're gonna not mind the kissing parts.
I do. I think that part is so freaking cute.
Yeah.
When he's like, oh, well, you wouldn't be interested in this. No, it's okay. Yeah. It's so cute because he wants to have the happy ending.
It's all right. We can read that part now. It's so adorable. Oh, my God.
Oh, wait a minute. I can't believe I almost forgot the most important part of this entire episode. Nikki.
What?
Did you notice the cup that's behind him in his room?
The cup?
The cup.
The cup. The cup.
He has a Burger King Star Wars glass from the same set that you bought me.
It's not the same one, though, is it?
It's not the same one. It's not the same one. That would have blown my fucking mind. I would have killed myself had that happened because nothing will ever be better. No, it wasn't the same one, but it's from the same set.
Oh my God, the trials and tribulations of getting you that cup. Oh my God.
It's one of my prized possessions. It's like I've got my McDonald's Batman Forever glasses that say made in China at the bottom. That's part of my very fancy
Come over, we'll put out the fancy china.
My fancy china. And then I've got my Burger King Star Wars glass. And a random Star Trek one that Etsy sent me.
Oh my God. I'm just trolling you and Carlos at this point. I'm sorry.
So good.
No, I didn't notice that, but my husband, being Canadian, did notice the Hudson Bay coffee mug. I was like, that's a Hudson Bay coffee mug! And I was like, what? He was like, I've just never seen that before.
He has such a cute little kid's room because it's sort of messy, and he's got these like cars and comic books and dinosaurs and all this stuff. And it just feels like a real room.
Yeah.
It feels lived in. But did you notice the scary Santa Claus?
Yeah, but I think it might be Christmas when they're doing this.
But the Santa Claus is unnecessary. It was really scary.
It's probably something are you trying to tell me that your parents don't have stuff that you've made when you were a child?
Yeah, but I mean...
But they didn't give it to you to put in your bedroom.
But the Santa Claus is staring at me a lot, and it just kind of made me feel uncomfortable. It looked like he had blood coming out of his mouth.
Stop. I think the set dressing for that scene is so good. It is a little kid's room. It is perfect.
It is.
Like, that's what I mean. This film can never be remade. I'm sorry, Kristina. I'm putting my foot down. I am literally stomping it. It is stomped. Stomp, 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 stomp. You can't remake this movie because there's too many bits and pieces to it that just work so well, and that when you try to change it, it just doesn't work.
I agree that the movie should not be remade. I think that the book can have another adaptation. And I think the adaptation, you do Adam McKay TV, hell yeah, I'm up.
No.
I'm up for it.
No. It's my birthday, and I say what goes, and this is not good. Goodbye.
Okay, you know what? That's a very good point. It is your birthday. This film cannot be remade.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Tomorrow.
As you wish.
Tomorrow I feel like you're going to write me and be like, I think they should remake it, and then I can't say anything. Is that my birthday?
No. Well, yes. It'll actually be like 12:01 this morning.
Yeah.
And then I'll be like, guess what, bitch?
Remake.
Not your birthday now, is it, huh?
Princess Bride 2, Electric Boogaloo. Let's do it.
Or I could do like an alien situation, and the next one is the Princess Brides.
Well, I know that... Okay, so here's the deal. You cannot remake The Princess Bride. We have said this 100 times. But I will say that I know that Disney was working on a musical version. And I
hate that.
I do not hate that.
What? We are so not on the same page to screen today.
I know we're not. Because part of me was like, Mandy Patinkin could be in it.
Okay. Now we're talking.
Do you see where I'm going
Mandy
with
Patinkin...
this? Miracle Max musical number?
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Done.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Cast him now. Cast him yesterday. Disney, what are you doing? I'd be the first person in line to buy tickets if that were the case. It would be...
Wait, you know one person in this movie, and I'm sorry, I know that the character does have a name, and I can't remember it at the moment, but the guy, the albino.
Yeah, that's his character name, Kristina. That's what it says in the credits.
Are you sure his name isn't like Mike?
No, 100%. That's what it says in the credits scroll.
Okay, so then my memory's not as bad as I thought. Guys, it's been rough recently. Yeah. I'm trying my best. Oh, I'm so tired. Okay, the albino. This is one of those things. It's like, you can want different things. Have clever filmmakers that come up with new shticks, genius comedy moments. But at the end of the day, give me someone falling and give me someone with a stupid voice that changes into a different stupid voice. It's going to make me laugh. So when he starts out and he's got that creepy, dirty coughs and his voice goes
It's just his normal voice.
It kills me. I had to rewatch it. It made me laugh so hard, I had to take it back because I didn't hear what he said.
Oh my God.
So good.
It is good. But I think it's time for us to talk about Das Booklist.
Das
Booklist.
Do I have to concede because it's your birthday?
No.
Are you saying no while smiling?
No. Shut up.
Now, I could concede today and agree with you, and then next episode take it back.
No takesies, backsies.
No takesies, backsies. Yeah, I think we agree that there is a tough decision to be made today.
Yeah, and it is a very hard decision but we have the rest of the year, and we don't know what's going to happen.
Sometimes ideas gain clarity with distance. And right now, we have two extremely good adaptations between this and our current number one, Casino Royale. That I think that you do have very good points about a remake for this and how one may not be necessary. And Casino Royale, I absolutely believe, does not need to be redone again.
So, on today, the day of my birth, would you like to do the honors and read the book list, Kristina?
No, this is you. This is the day of your birth.
Me?
Yeah.
All right. And as it stands, I know you're looking at it because it says Anonymous Goose. I don't know why it says that. Do you agree with what we currently have?
Yes, I do.
All right. Then, dun dun dun, it's the birthday book list. It's the birthday book list. It's a birthday book list. Oh, I like this. It's my birthday. Sharing, the number one spot.
Oh my God.
In number one, we have the OG baby Casino Royale and The Princess Bride. Ba, ba, ba. Number two. Number two, we have. I can't get it out. It makes me laugh. And number two, we have Dr. No means no and yes means yes. The patriarchy has got to go.
I may have retitled that film.
Number three is The Commitments. Number four is Cinderella / Ever After. Number five is Willy William Wonka. Mr. William Willy Wonka. 6, Bridget Jones. And 7 is How Stella Got Her Groove Back.
See, here's an example of distance brings clarity. I found it to be very difficult to put How Stella to the bottom.
Yeah.
And part of it is because the bottoms before
were so bad.
Were relegated for actually bad books and bad movies. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't want number 7 to necessarily mean it's a bad one, but it's just like there is no comparison when it comes to adaptations between Stella and Casino Royale and The Princess Bride, you know? Yeah. And even like think about the fact Rosemary's Baby is not in this year. Rosemary's Baby would probably still be number 1.
Oh yeah, it would definitely
so
be number 1. Year. Casino Royale and Princess Bride would have to be number 2 at that point. Yeah. It's
right. It is what it is.
It is. We unfortunately picked such strong books for this year that every time we have to do the book list, I'm like, I don't want. Can they all be number 1? Like,
it's a real Sophie's choice. It's like, I don't want to let go.
Yeah. And I think you're right. I mean, distance, it gives you a little bit more clarity on these things. And every time we read a new book, I'm like, oh, well, what? Some of them just don't fit right. And I'm looking at what we have coming up.
I know.
And I am worried about our book list. Not because they're bad. I'm worried because I don't know what's going to happen to this list. This list is going to have a massive shakeup.
Yeah.
I can feel it. Especially as we get to the end. I am excited.
Do you want to talk about the one that we're doing next? Because I am... This is such a weird one.
It is.
We just kind of randomly did it.
We're kind of in a really childlike atmosphere with this. And you know what's really funny is that we picked, remember last year when we did Jumanji?
Yeah.
This is sort of that feeling to me. We are doing a book that, I don't know how to explain it. So as we depart from princesses and sword fights and all of that high sailing adventure, we move on from the mixed up files of Mrs. Basil E. Frankenweiler. Frankenweiler.
You said Frankenweiler.
Weiler.
Frankenstein.
Frank Waller.
We are doing From the Mixed Up Files of Mrs. Bumbledoo Grumblepuss.
Bandersnatch Cookie Puss.
Mixed Up Files of Mrs.
Benedict
Cake Frankenstein. Something like that.
Yeah, it was close. Shut up. It's my birthday. We're doing a kid's book, okay? You guys deal with it.
It's a real trap. It's a tongue trap.
It is. It really is. How are kids supposed to say that? Stop. Look, we're already reviewing it, and we haven't even read it.
No, I'm excited, and I think that, like, the fun thing about this is something like Princess Bride. Like, it's supposed to be disarming when you hear something called The Princess Bride and the main character's name is Buttercup.
Yeah.
You know, it feels very silly, but I like it. And I like that there's still like such good storytelling to be found in something that maybe is looked down upon than other fiction. So I kind of like us doing some quote unquote like children's books, even though I don't necessarily think that it's fair to specifically categorize something as like a children's book or a children's movie, because I think there's good to be found in all of it.
I think the term children's book is weird because most of these books are being read by adults to kids.
That's true.
So they should just be called book books.
Yeah. You know, have you... Oh, I think we've already had this conversation. You haven't seen or read The Little Prince, right?
I've seen The Little Prince. I haven't read The Little Prince.
Okay. The Little Prince is like really dark, and the ending of Princess Bride reminded me just the tiniest bit of The Little Prince.
Yeah.
Because it just feels like there's a little bit more here to think about for a little kid, and I like that. I don't like things that necessarily talk down to kids. Yeah. And I don't think The Princess Bride does at all, and I think that is very cool.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I am hopeful that everyone agrees when we read the next one.
Yeah. I'm excited.
I'm excited too. And it's so weird because here we are, a book that takes place in New York City, aka the 10th Kingdom. This is a fun one for me because I feel like I should actually go to the museum and read the book.
Oh my gosh, you should.
Could you imagine? I should just retrace her steps, right? I should just go. I should run away from home is what I'm saying.
I mean, as someone who lives in New York, I'm sure you do what I do here in Orlando. Like, there's a lot of stuff that's local that I don't do. Yeah. And when was the last time you went to the Met?
Oh my goodness.
Been a while, right?
20... I don't think it was 2019. It might have been 2018. I went to the Met.
Oh, that's not the worst.
No, it's not bad, but it's also like they've had a lot of exhibits that I really wanted to see.
Yeah.
And I've just been like,
yeah.
Like, oh, do I really want to go travel?
Yeah, you should totally go.
I should go.
To the Met.
I should go to the Met and read. Oh my God, how cute would that be?
How cute would that be? That'd be so cute.
Oh my God, you guys. Okay, for the next episode, I am running away from home and living at the Met, so.
Oh my God, it'd be so cute. You like take yourself on a little date. You go to the Met. They've got that cute little cafe there.
They do.
You can get like a little snack, a little lunch.
You can get alcohol.
Okay, you can also get some alcohol.
Listen, this is a grown-up running away,
reading
okay?
the mixed up files of Bumbledoo butterscotch.
Buttercream cake frosting.
Buttercup Frankenstein.
Benedict Frankenweenie.
I like that one.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, that's what's going on next. I'm excited. Kristina and I don't think we've picked the movie version that we're going to do because I didn't realize the options we had available to us. So
yeah, there are two options. There's a 1973 one and it's got Ingrid Bergman in it.
Love
and
it.
then there is a TV one that is 1995 that has freaking Lauren Bacall in it.
Yeah. So we are at an impasse.
We will, by the time we come back, you know which book we're doing. We will know what we're doing when we come back.
Yeah. So don't worry about us.
Yeah, don't worry about us, okay?
We'll be fine.
Worry about your own shit.
Yeah, we'll be fine. Go away. Leave us alone. What are you doing here? What are you still here for? Come on, we talked about the Princess
Unless
Bride.
your name is Mandy, then please stick around. I'm so sorry for what I just said.
Yeah, Mr. Patinkin, I'm so sorry. We're trying to get them to leave. They just don't want to leave.
Well, we don't mean you.
No, you stay. You're the guest of honor.
Which movie do you want us to do?
Yeah. Oh, okay. We'll do that one then. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mandy.
Thank you.
But it's a secret, so that the rest of you don't need to
Yeah.
know.
Shh. It's a wig. Oh my goodness. Okay. Anyways, I mean, with that, Kristina, I do think my party's over.
Aw, well, it's been a fun party, huh?
It's been a great party, and I can't wait for your party.
Well, we got a while to go until my party.
I know, but so I have to prep. I have to find a really nice outfit and a good wig.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, if I'm gonna show up as Prince Humperdinck to your birthday party, come on.
Surrender.
Spoiler alert, everyone. Kristina's birthday party's theme is Chris Sarandon.
What's that line to, like, perhaps you can consider me instead of suicide. So good. Maybe think about me as opposed to killing yourself. Just consider it. It's so good.
So thanks as always.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thanks to all of you for coming to my party. There are no gift bags. Thanks as always to our Q, Jesse. Thanks for making us sound good and, that stuff. And thanks, as always, to the best party guest besides Mandy Patinkin, Kristina.
Well, thank you, and thank you for inviting me to your party. It's been glorious.
Yes. As you wish. Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe. I will accept happy birthday messages. Thank you.
Aww.
Thank you all so much for coming to my party. I'm sorry there wasn't any cake. See yourself out. And we will see you next time with the thrilling adventures of Bumblebee Tuna? I don't know.
Yes, that's exactly it.
Okay, we have to have a private kiki with Mr. Mandy Patinkin. So everyone leave. Okay, bye.